God of the devil and the devil did come. I said to the devil, devil, do you like drums? Do you like cigarettes, dominoes, rum? He said only sundown, Sundays, Christmas, Sundays, and when I need a few friends. Now when
Okay, so you just kind of looked at how we kind of treat homeless people as if they're invisible members of our society, which kind of makes them less than members of our society altogether, right? And so thinking about how we treat vets in this country, it's actually an added injury when we think about all that they've sacrificed, and the reasons why they're ending up homeless is because they really literally sacrificed. I'm not talking about like hyperbole or metaphor, right? Part of the reason why people that are veterans end up homeless is because they're suffering from physical or mental disabilities as a result of the time that they served our country, right? And so when we're thinking about this, let's try to break down some of the stats before we talk about what we can do about it, right? So when we think about vets in general, vets are living all across the United States, right? There are currently about 19 million vets that are living in the US, right? And they're coming from like wars from all the way back to World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam. You're looking at both of the Iraq wars and our conflict in Afghanistan, and a lot of other military interventions that we've taken over the world, including the drug war in South America, right? But one of the things that you can see is they kind of actually are divided out into Florida, California, and Texas primarily, right? Those are the states that have the largest number of vets living in those states, right? And then when you look at it, it's not surprising that you also have the largest number of homeless people broken down into those states, right? 61% of homeless vets live in major cities, and 32% live in suburban areas, kind of like the San Fernando Valley, right? On any given night, there are approximately 45,000 homeless vets in America this year, right? And there are about 1.5 million vets that are what's considered to be at risk of being homeless, meaning that they're suffering from poverty or underemployment, right? And so that's a pretty high number when you think about it. 1.5 million out of 19 million is a pretty high percentage of people who served our country who might end up on the streets, right? So when we're talking about this, what are some of the causes for the reasons why people end up on the street? Well, we kind of talked about that, right? People who are suffering from traumatic brain injury or PTSD sometimes struggle to reacclimate to society, right? They're dealing with all kinds of consequences, extra anxiety, easy to anger, right? Then there's also the co-occurring disorders, right? So people come back and then they try to numb themselves using substances. All of these things can lead to homelessness, right? Now, when you're looking at the population of the homeless vets, right? Currently, if you're looking at that 19 million number, that means about 7% of the total population of the United States is vets. But when you look at the homeless population, 11% of homeless people are veterans, right? Meaning that there are more vets represented in the homeless population than they're represented in the total population, right? Which means we're not doing enough to support them, right? Again, it shouldn't be much of a surprise, but this also breaks down on racial lines, right? African Americans and Latino soldiers make up a very small percentage of the armed forces in America, right? We're talking about less than 16%, but they make up 45% of all homeless vets, right? Meaning, again, that the system isn't working for people of color in the same way that it's working for everybody, right? This is particularly bad because the system of trying to help these vets has been broken for a while. Still to this day, a majority of homeless vets are vets that are serving from the Vietnam War period, right? And so we gotta start thinking about new ways to try to help support these people, right? Because about 50% of the homeless vets have some form of serious mental condition that is preventing them from finding adequate housing. Now, the VA has been charged with helping these people, and I'm gonna kick it over to a video, and then I'll catch you on the flip.
Every day, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs and its partners work hard to put veterans who are homeless and at imminent risk of becoming homeless on the pathway to permanent housing. As a result, homelessness among veterans is at an all-time low. Yet there still are far too many veterans who need help in communities nationwide. The good news is that you can make a difference by following one or both of these simple steps. If you see or know a person who is homeless or at imminent risk of becoming homeless, and you know or think that person is a veteran, encourage them to visit the closest VA medical center for help. Trained personnel are on hand to assess each veteran's needs and connect them with appropriate VA and community resources. Or encourage them to contact the National Call Center for Homeless Veterans anytime, day or night, at 877-4AID-VET, or you can make the call yourself. A VA representative will ask the caller to provide information about the homeless veteran, such as their location and a physical description. A trained VA homeless program team member will then be dispatched to locate and talk with the person face-to-face to verify they are a veteran and discuss ways that VA can help them secure stable housing and other services they may need. The brave women and men who served in the military answered our nation's call to keep every American safe and secure. Now you can help make sure that every veteran is safe and secure in stable housing. A few brief words or phone call really can help end veteran homelessness.
It was a lot to take in being homeless, being angry, being hungry. But because I don't have a home, it don't mean I don't have a life. It doesn't mean I don't count. And once I went down to the VA, my life began to change. And I'm gonna say this perfectly clear, without them, I guess I would still be homeless.
Living in the streets, out there you know you're a dead man walking. At least with a VA, you got a chance, you got a safety net. If you're homeless, go to VA Medical Center.
Veterans that are homeless, people tend to kind of give them the brush off. Don't overlook that veteran because they could probably need your help more than you know. Just refer them to the nearest VA Medical Center or the VA Homeless Veterans Line.
Okay, so that's what the VA says that they're doing. And you know what? I'm gonna cut them a little bit of slack because the issue of dealing with homelessness is a huge issue and no organization has truly found like the silver bullet in terms of how we can help these individuals get back on their feet. But with that being said, it's a huge task. Now, the VA has committed to outreach, trying to find homeless vets, and then connecting them to services, whether they be healthcare or housing or mental health or substance abuse services, right? But clearly they're not doing a good enough job because there are dozens of different organizations out there that have committed themselves to trying to help homeless vets, right? Meaning that the VA isn't doing enough of a job on its own. And when we think about it, the fact that homeless vets make up such a large portion of the homeless population in general, and they have the VA, and they have all these other organizations helping them, that shows that it's a really big problem, right? So I want you to start to kind of think about that and unpack it. There's a bit of a reading that I want you to do, and then I want you to answer some questions on this, right? And then I'm going to catch you in your assignment for the project, okay? All right, good luck.